Luis Antonio Vargas is a rich but lonely coffee merchant living in 19th-century Cuba. Despite having wealth, respect, and power, his life feels empty because he has no companion to share it with. Social expectations push him toward marriage, yet he dislikes the idea of marrying someone he barely knows. Eventually, he agrees to a mail-order marriage arrangement and begins exchanging letters with a woman named Julia Russell, who lives in America. Through their letters, Julia appears gentle, intelligent, romantic, and cultured. Luis imagines her as modest and refined, and he slowly falls in love with the image of her words. When the day finally arrives for Julia to come to Cuba, Luis waits nervously at the harbor, expecting a shy woman who matches the personality he has imagined. Instead, the woman who steps off the ship shocks him completely. She is breathtakingly beautiful, confident, seductive, and bold. This Julia is nothing like the reserved woman from the letters. She introduces herself with direct eye contact and fearless charm. Luis is stunned but instantly captivated. Although her personality feels different, he convinces himself that this is simply part of her charm. They marry almost immediately. From the very first night, Julia awakens a powerful passion inside Luis. Their relationship becomes intensely sexual and emotionally consuming. Julia dominates his thoughts, his body, and his heart. Luis, who once lived a controlled and orderly life, now finds himself addicted to desire. He is deeply in love and blind to reason. However, cracks soon begin to appear. Julia frequently disappears without explanation. She avoids talking about her past and becomes defensive when questioned. Money begins to go missing from Luis's accounts. Servants whisper about her secret meetings. Luis struggles between love and suspicion, choosing again and again to trust her. One day, a mysterious man named Walter Downs approaches Luis and claims that his wife is not who she says she is. Downs reveals that the real Julia Russell died years ago and that the woman Luis married is actually a professional con artist named Bonnie Castle. According to Downs, Bonnie works with a dangerous man named Billy Van Amberg. Together, they target wealthy men, seduce them, marry them, steal their money, and disappear. Downs explains that he was once one of Bonnie's victims and has spent years tracking her, obsessed with exposing her lies. At first, Luis refuses to believe this story. The idea that the woman he loves is a fraud is unbearable. But when faced with undeniable evidence, Luis is forced to accept the truth. Luis confronts Julia. She breaks down and admits everything. Her real name is Bonnie Castle. She confesses that she planned to steal his fortune and run away with Billy. However, she claims that during their marriage, she truly fell in love with Luis. Her confession leaves Luis emotionally shattered. He is torn between rage, humiliation, love, and longing. Before Luis can decide what to do, Bonnie disappears, taking a large portion of his money. Luis is left heartbroken and humiliated, mocked by society and consumed by obsession. Unable to move on, he follows her trail across Europe until he finally finds her in Paris. When Luis confronts Bonnie again, their chemistry reignites instantly. She begs for forgiveness, swearing that she loves him and wants a real life with him. Against all logic and pride, Luis forgives her. They reunite passionately, believing they can escape their past and begin again. But their illusion is short-lived. Billy Van Amberg returns. He is violent, manipulative, and possessive. Billy makes it clear that Bonnie belongs to him and always has. He threatens Luis, demanding money and control. Bonnie is terrified of Billy, trapped between fear and guilt. Luis realizes that Bonnie's past will never let them be free. For the first time, he stops acting like a victim and begins thinking like a survivor. He pretends to surrender to Billy's demands while secretly planning his revenge. Luis manipulates Billy into believing there is no money left to steal. In a tense and brutal confrontation, Luis kills Billy. It is not a crime of passion but a calculated act born from betrayal and survival. The once gentle businessman has been transformed by obsession into a killer. Bonnie witnesses the aftermath and is horrified by what Luis has become. She believes her love has destroyed him. Overwhelmed by guilt and fear, she leaves him once again. Luis is arrested for Billy's murder and sentenced to death. As Luis awaits execution in prison, Bonnie secretly visits him one last time. She finally accepts responsibility for everything she has done. In an act of tragic redemption, she poisons herself but transfers the antidote to Luis through a final kiss, ensuring that he lives while she dies. Luis survives. Bonnie dies in his arms, finally proving her love through sacrifice. Soon after, Luis is unexpectedly pardoned due to lack of evidence. He walks free, wealthy and alive, but emotionally empty. The film ends with Luis leaving Cuba forever. He has lost the woman he loved, the innocence he once had, and the life he dreamed of. What began as a search for love ends as a lesson in obsession, deception, and the destructive power of desire.